We are back with part 2 of Dr. Howie Edwards' Follow Your Bliss.
Or did they treat you like they still wanted it to be separated?
The question was, when I went to the newly integrated high school, if the kids treated me like it was integrated, or if they treated me like they still wanted it to be segregated. When I got to the newly integrated high school, neither the teachers nor the students there knew what to do with us. We were there physically, but in terms of being a part of the school culture and so forth, they didn't know how to handle that. They were not prepared to handle that. We were not prepared to deal with the situation we ran into. And it wasn't that every kid at the school who was not black had that disposition. It was that the overwhelming culture of the school did not have a place for us beyond the athletic field. I mean, I went through high school utterly unscathed by education. They never laid a glove on me in the classroom, and nobody particularly cared. As long as we showed up on the football field, on the basketball court, doing track and field. And so we had, the years that I was at East St. Louis Senior High School, we had one of the best football teams in the state. We came in with 7 guys. We came in second in the state in the state high school track tournament, including getting first, second, and third in the discus. We had one of the top-ranked basketball teams in the state. And East St. Louis Senior High School, to this day, the East St. Louis Flyers, always ranked in the top 5 football teams in the state of Illinois. That was where we found legitimacy. That was what kept us in good stead. But as far as the education, as far as the student culture and so forth, they had absolutely no idea what to do with us. And every now and then I'll run into a student, a white student who was at the school at the time that I was. I was invited to reunions of the class of 1959 that I graduated with, except for one thing. I didn't know any of those people. They didn't know me. And every now and then I would run into and say, oh yeah, we were in the class together. I say, were we? Yeah, I remember you. You were the starting tackle on the football team and so forth and so on. I had no idea who this person was. So just because change occurred does not mean that progress was made. I think that a large part of the reason that I was not able to accept any of the 4-year scholarships that I had, a large part of the reason I ended up at junior college, a large part of the reason why I could not even read the college admissions test, much less pass it, had to do with my high school experiences. Education wasn't important, as far as we were concerned. Okay. Let me take this lady here, and then I'll come back to this side.
So they basically only wanted you on the sports teams to make their teams better?
I think that they wanted us to be involved with the school, but they didn't know how to do that. They had never been challenged with that. Our Negroes, as we were called at the time, were people to be pushed to the back, to the side. We couldn't even get on a bus and ride in the front of the bus. I remember going to Woolworths in East St. Louis with my mom, and I wanted a hot dog because I saw all these kids eating hot dogs at the Woolworth lunch counter. She said, we can't eat there. I didn't understand that, but it was segregated. We couldn't live outside of a particular area. We couldn't ride. And this was in East St. Louis, Illinois. It wasn't law, it was just tradition. You didn't go and sit in the front of the bus. You always went to the back of the bus. We couldn't go to the Majestic Theater except on a particular night, which was usually Tuesday or Wednesday night, and we had to sit in the balcony in East St. Louis. It's interesting, this past week I got a call from the editor, publisher of East St. Louis magazine. They're putting a huge mural on the side of the old Majestic Theater. And one of the people that they're portraying up there is me, Josephine Baker, tremendous dancer, singer, is from East St. Louis. Miles Davis, the jazz artist from East St. Louis. Jackie Joyner Kersey from East St. Louis. A lot of great people they're putting up on the side of the old Majestic Theater. But when I was growing up, we couldn't go into the theater except on Tuesday or Wednesday night, and we had to sit in the balcony. Well, all of a sudden, to throw people into school where you had that kind of culture in a city, it wasn't that they didn't want us except to play sports. It was, that was the only way that they could figure out to deal with it. And that was largely a result of their experience having witnessed Jackie Robinson in 1946, 47, 48. This was 1957. And still, that was the image that they had of Negroes. They're great in sports, but everything else, hey. And when we started going to the sock hops that they used to have in the morning before classes, they just stopped the sock hop. No more sock hops, because you couldn't go in there and just dance with anybody. Yes.
Something.
The question was, did something or someone defy me when it came to achieving my goals? One of the things that I say on this sign up here, and I hope that you all will read that and get a chance to discuss it in class, is that you have to learn to dream with your eyes open. And what I mean by that is that there are always hills and valleys and obstacles and hurdles that you have to get over. A lot of people have aspirations, but they don't understand what they're going to have to go through to get there. And so one of the things that I learned early on was to dream with my eyes open. And one of the things that became very, very clear, very, very early, is not only is everyone not attuned to helping you to get to your goals. They have other issues, they have other concerns, they have other people in their lives and in their world. But some are abjectly against you. But that doesn't mean that you stop dreaming. You learn to dream with your eyes open. There are always going to be those challenges that you're going to have to overcome, things that you didn't anticipate, some that you did. If you want to be a doctor, you know one challenge is going to be biology, chemistry, cell physiology, mathematics, all kinds of things. But then there are other things, geez, there are not a lot of doctors who come from your background. Therefore, your case is hopeless. You're not going to be able to, hey. So you learn to dream with your eyes open so that you can prepare to meet the challenges that you face, whether they're human, intended, negative, just par for the course. So the key to success, to achievement, is learning to dream with your eyes open. Don't get rid of your dreams. And don't become singular in your dreams. I ultimately wanted to be a great athlete, a scholar, an activist, a writer, a speaker, lecturer. I wanted to do television. I wanted to write books. I wanted to do magazine articles. I didn't say, I'm going to be an athlete and I ain't got time for the rest of it. I wanted to be everything that I could be. But in doing that, I had to learn to dream with my eyes open to get there. Okay? Take this person. How did I become famous? There's a fine line between famous and infamous. And you can you can move back and forth between those. You know, this, when I first left East St. Louis, coming to California, with the idea of playing football at USC, I couldn't get in. In June of this year, as a consequence of the vote of athletic department, information, and media officers across all of the NC2A institutions, there was a decision to vote me into the Academic All-American Hall of Fame. If somebody had told me when I was 16 years old and left East St. Louis coming out here without having, not only had I not read a book, I hadn't opened a book because I didn't need to. All I had to do was continue to play football, basketball, and track. I didn't graduate from college, I was pushed out. I didn't graduate from high school, I was pushed out of high school because I was 6'5", 240 pounds, 16 years old, and the teachers were beginning to worry. And so they moved me on. If somebody had told me that 60 years plus later, just about 60 years to the day, because I'm 70, I'll be 76 my next birthday, that I would be being inducted into the Academic All-America Hall of Fame for outstanding athletic and scholarly achievement, I would have said they were insane. And so, whether it's infamy or famous or infamous, it's not something you seek. It's something that your journey takes you to. And it's a perception that people have. Do I deserve to be in the Academic All-America Hall of Fame? Probably not. Did I deserve to be on the House Un-American Activities list of 61 revolutionary, subversive campus speakers? Probably not. Did I deserve to be run all over the country by my friend Dick Hell, who was the agent in charge of the San Francisco office of the FBI? Probably not. Do I deserve to be sitting here with the privilege of spending this time with you? Probably not. So none of this is anything that I control. What I tried to do was what I felt was right and appropriate and needed. The rest of it, you leave to somebody else to define.
Thanks for watching part 2 of Follow Your Bliss. Next up is part 3 with Dr. Harry Edwards.